Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bridge Effect. We are doing something different today. We are on a Zoom call bringing back Joshua, the first culture conversation that we had with him. Uh, featured law and politics, and we were talking about dual citizenship and women's empowerment and networking and everything like that. Tomorrow, December 8th, we have the by-elections happening in Liberia, and Joshua just wrote a op-ed for Sleepless in Monrovia, which he is the editor in chief of. And so I thought it'd be best to bring him on so we could discuss what's going on. First, our conclusion before everything, before we start, because we're going to talk for a little bit, but our conclusion is Joshua, what are we going with?
We're telling everybody to vote no, but we're going to
Vote
explain
no.
why.
We're going to explain why, but we want to tell you to vote no
It's
on
better to be safe
all.
than sorry.
Yes, better to be safe than sorry. So our
Voting
conclusion
no
is
doesn't make it worse. It
mhm.
keep it just as it is. It's
Mm.
better than making a mistake that you can correct because you already changed it. So vote no to be safe. I'll be a conservative for this one.
All right, so you guys are hearing it from both Joshua and I vote no on all the referendums, and now we're going to explain why. So, Joshua, could you just go through kind of your reasoning behind the first part of your op-ed on Sleepless in Monrovia?
So it initially started about 13 months ago or so. I was doing consultancy work with Carter Center, True Carter Center for an organization called Liberian Election Observation Network, Leon. So my work was they had a legislative monitoring program that I was a part of. There's a team of monitors watching the activities of the Liberian legislature because one of my dreams about Liberia is the way they do it in the US, since we tend to copy the US all the time, having this get to know you for our representatives, so where it can be easy for anybody to look up any Liberian legislature and know, okay, these are the values they stand for, these are the issues that are important to them, and this is what's important to the constituents, something like that. But that's a far-reaching big goal, and it has to start from somewhere. So where we started from is just monitoring and observing, because before there used to be programs observing the legislature in Liberia through IREX, where they had the legislative scorecard. So we're doing something different from that, but still monitoring the legislature so people know what exactly is happening. In the US, they have C-SPAN, where
Mhm.
you can watch happenings in the legislature. In Liberia, we don't have anything like that.
Right.
So the idea was that it would be good to, at the end of every legislative season, bring out a report. These are the issues that were discussed. These are the bills that were passed. So we know how it affect our daily life instead of waiting for a news report or this happening and we don't know how and why it happened.
Yeah.
Because sadly, even with our legislature, because most of what we do is on paper, that we don't have online safety. So there are several bills that have been passed or that were not passed, but we don't know all the bills because there isn't a record compilation of every bill that has been passed.
Okay.
That previous legislature come up and say, okay, well, let's create this new law. We feel like there should be a law for this. So, but we haven't checked if there's a new law for it. That's something in public policy that really bothered me. That's why I studied law instead. So that's the idea, that there will be some record shows that people will be able to track activities of the legislature.
Mhm.
So I asked friends, okay, I was part of the research for this report. I want a third person perspective. Read it and do a reaction of it, at least say something about it. And I've been waiting for people to do information sharing regarding the referendum, just so people be educated, and there hasn't been much. So I was talking to a friend, I was really emotional about how somebody should be doing this, and I've been really avoiding doing it. It's
Mm.
like, okay, I should actually say it. I could try to give a non-biased perspective, since I don't support any candidate in the coming senatorial election, nor am I a part of any political party, because I believe that Liberia needs a force of technocrats who don't have any political alliance or interest. We just want to do our work because we're good at it. So if I want that to happen, I should be one of those. And being one of those, I decided to write this op-ed. So it's published on Sleepless in Monrovia that I'm a part of a team. It includes three amazing young ladies. One is an engineer, one is an executive administrator, the other is a student, an accounting student. So, but we have this blog, Sleepless in Monrovia, that showcases Liberia literary capacity. And so that's why I wrote the op-ed. The op-ed is in two parts. It's Referendum 101 and Referendum 102. Referendum 101, just brief summary. There's been a lot of misinformation in the news regarding the referendum being illegal.
Yes.
And I went to law school. I'm a practicing attorney in Liberia.
Mhm.
Seeing people continuously making that mistake on the radio, it really irks me.
So you're using your voice now.
Yeah, so I decided to, as my friend Tassis Dustin would say, use your voice.
Yeah.
Use my voice. I'm making the clarification, at least for the few people who can read it. I know it's a little too late, some may say, but it's better to reach who I can now instead of not doing anything because it's too late. It's never too late to make a change.
Exactly.
So
That's why we're doing this too.
yeah, that's what we're doing this video. Second part of the op-ed, Referendum 102, as I titled it, is about why I'm voting, how I'm voting for the referendum, because I don't want to be Liberian politician, just vote this and not telling you what I'm voting for. I wouldn't tell you boycott the referendum because boycotting the referendum doesn't help anything at all. At most, it makes it worse because just how we expect our government to do its job for us, our jobs as citizens is to participate in elections and these referendums as they come about because that's the only job we have as citizens, the bare minimum. So if you can't do the bare minimum, you shouldn't expect anything from any governmental institution. So challenging us, as J. Cole would say, the real change comes from inside.
Come on. So
But
you
yeah,
guys hear that?
so
No boycotting. Using your
yeah,
voice
no
and
boycott.
go vote.
Use it.
Yes. Okay.
Go vote.
Peacefully.
Yeah, vote peacefully.
Mm-hmm.
There's more power in the pen than in your arms.
Ooh, come on. Slogan.
Yeah, we got you got to put that in every now and then.
I love it.
There's power in your pen. Use your pen. Check yes or no. I would say check no. And this, let me break down why I'm voting no. I had to do my research to come up to this. It isn't based on any political sentiment. It isn't because I don't like the government or because I like the government or some opposition. It's strictly because this don't add up. I went to school to be better than average. So I wouldn't want anybody to give me anything mediocre and I'll take crap because I believe there's the only option. I always believe everybody has a choice. Everybody has a choice. And having a choice is the choice to vote yes or no. So I'm voting no on dual citizenship. I was born in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are refugees. I lived in the US for 8 years. I was an international student. I hated being an international student when I could get a green card or become a US citizen by joining the army. I believe Liberia needs a comprehensive dual citizenship proposition. Now I was rating in the now I was rating for voting this time around in this referendum.
Okay.
Because the most important thing for me there, it doesn't speak for people like me. The entire proposition it allows dual citizenship, but the issue we've always had with our law about dual citizenship has never been Article 28.
Right.
It has always been Article 27, the one that bans non-Negro citizenship, because sometimes we have parents, maybe one Liberian and somebody who is of another race. And the biggest concern, people don't, people say it's a concern and say it's illegal, but we haven't really done research about it. It's the group of Liberians who were born outside. For people like me, I was born to Liberian parents, but I wasn't born in Liberia.
Mhm.
I could claim my citizenship through my parents. That's highly legal. You don't have to pay money for that
Right.
because you're still a Liberian. Correct.
That
So
that
I expect that.
it actually by blood would pretty much say that you are Liberian.
Yeah, yes. Liberian law doesn't restrict citizenship for anybody in that class.
Right.
So that's a twist,
Mhm.
and a lot of people go around it. So I expected, as a person who fits that script, expected something in the proposition to at least say something about us. We are Liberians too, right? But this doesn't speak to it. Worst of all, it bans people with dual citizenship from taking particular positions, not even a type of position. It just takes particular positions out.
Mhm.
It doesn't say why. Nowhere. I read the official Gazette, posted a link to the Gazette. There's no explanation as to why these positions you say you can be a minister of finance, you can be a minister of justice. Yeah, I agree that's an important position, but this government has shown us that the most important ministerial position is the minister of state. It doesn't ban you from becoming minister of state. So what criteria sets minister of justice and minister of finance from this?
Mhm.
But I can still become a minister of public works. I can still become. It doesn't say why. It doesn't even give a grade. Like if you want to adopt the Ghanaian model that they refer to,
Yeah.
it has grades. It's elected positions.
Mhm.
But in Liberia, no, it doesn't say that. Why? There's no explanation. And I expect, if you can tell me why should I do it? There's not enough reason for me to vote yes. That is just haphazard and rushed. When the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf presidency, there were constitutional conferences held, constitutional review committees set by her honor, Gloria Musu Scott. So there were several things done before them, but when this legislature took over, they didn't use any of those precedents except from few papers, but arguably it's few papers. To me, they didn't use anything because even that laid out or planned how to roll out the constitutional issues and why it was tricky and everything had to go right or no. But they didn't even refer to it during the hearings for these propositions. There were initially 25. It was submitted by the office of the president, which should never have happened. It should have come from the legislature itself or from 10,000 citizens at least.
Mm.
But that's not how it starts. So initially canceled for standing, then it was proposed by Councilor Varney Sherman, who's the head of his judicial committee. He proposed these amendments, these 25 amendments that became eight, and they became eight in behind closed doors. Nobody got to know why these eight were selected and the others weren't. So I can vote yes with a good mind that this will do good for Liberia. So this dual citizenship proposition, it sounds nice because it says dual citizenship, but it's trash if you read it, if
Yeah.
you read between the lines. So that's why I can't vote for it, because it still doesn't change Article 27. Article 27 still bans citizenship for non-Negro heritage.
Even because I think the issue is blood citizenship and land citizenship. It doesn't even
Yeah,
discuss land citizenship, which those of us that were born outside of Liberia, you are automatically a citizen because of the land that you're born in. But in Liberia,
yeah,
you're born in Liberia and of a different race, it doesn't even cover that either.
yeah, it doesn't.
Okay.
So that's it about the dual citizenship. That's why I'm voting no, because it doesn't account for everything. Articles 46, 48, 50, and 47,
Mm-hmm.
they talk about
Mm-hmm.
the reduction of terms for the president, vice president, the speaker of the house, the senators, the representative, and the frequency of speaker election.
Okay.
So they're all similar, but it's like a math problem.
Break that down.
It's great to reduce the turnout because we stand at risk of having someone in the position of power for too long
Too long. Mhm.
when they're abusing it. Yeah, globally, around the world, there are less than 25 countries with tenures that are more than 4 years
Correct.
for their top executives. So it's great that we want to change it, but it's about the timing. This isn't a national election for president and senators. This is an election for just senators. So if we do it now, that means after the election in 2023, every other election we have an election every other year. So that makes it very expensive for Liberia. Fun fact, Liberia hasn't been able to afford to pay for any of its elections before. And this is our fifth national election as a country
Mhm.
since 2003,
Okay.
since the end of the war. So international donors can only do so much. And we say we profess to have a stable democracy, we should be able to afford our democracy. In the current election, the budget was reduced by more than 70%, and the government is still not able. Today, there's news about protests by poor workers because they haven't received their stipend to start. We haven't been told anything about security in election or the transportation of ballot boxes. They just started transporting ballot boxes to go across the country last weekend. So some places might not be able to have elections on elections day because Liberia has terrible road system. These are all issues that we are having when part of our election is being sponsored, or we are not able to do it 100%. Will we be able to afford to have an election every other year? It's not feasible at all. There were already fears when it was when the president made a proposition to suspend by elections because it's too expensive. Let's look at current context. So if having by elections is too expensive, having regular elections would that not be too expensive too? Wouldn't that create a downward trend where it's like, okay, instead of having elections, we just appoint? You know, people appointed by the president work for the president, but these elected positions, on paper at least, we claim to work for the people. They are accountable to the people. So if the people can't afford to put them there and the government puts them there, they will be working for the government. It will just be governmental surrogates. So this whole idea of accountability and confusion of functions, we don't need that now. We can do it 2023, maybe by then the track will be set that
Right.
when we do it, we might be comfortable with doing it every year, and it will affect the presidency, and we wouldn't worry about the third term that people talk about, but nobody wants to say that might happen because it's subject to
So,
code
so,
interpretation.
so in a way, if this referendum passes, that could essentially put a third term in place.
Yeah,
Because I've
it,
seen a lot
it
of people.
triggers the possibility of a third
'Cause
term.
I've seen a lot of people debating about there being a third term and why they're
Yeah.
voting no. So to be clear, that is a possibility if this referendum passes.
Yeah, if the referendum doesn't pass, it doesn't
It won't
happen.
affect it, right?
Yeah. So why not help prevent something you don't want to happen by voting
Sure,
no instead of boycotting the referendum?
sure,
That's my reason for doing it. Not because I don't think it's a good idea. I just think
right.
the timing. Sometimes you say there are right times, and this time the math shows that we shouldn't do it now. We can do it when we're having a general and presidential election
Okay,
instead of when we're having a special election.
okay,
So that's my reason for voting no to 47, 48, 49, 46, 48, and 50. The presidency is 50.
Okay.
46 is the senators. 47 talks about the Senate pro tempore elections.
Okay.
48 talks about election of representatives.
Mhm.
Then 49 talks about the election of the speaker. Yeah.
Yeah. Another referendum would change the month in which voting takes place, right?
Yeah, that's the next one. Yeah. We move our elections from in May as it used to previously be in 1976. Now is the rainy season, so that really affects a lot of things. And the biggest concern we've had about election was because it's in the rainy season, travel, the issue we have in transporting ballot boxes
Yeah.
out of town to be across the country in time.
Mhm.
Doing this doesn't fix because we're in December now and we're still having the same challenges with transportation.
Right.
So because and yeah, December is part of the start of the dry season, but things aren't really dry out yet. So even doing campaigns, you do campaign when it's raining and all that. Why not move the entire election cycle from the rainy season to the dry season? Pick a date in the dry season, not just move it by 1 month because it's right at the start of the dry season. So to me, it's like having headache and taking gas syrup. It doesn't fix. It doesn't fix the problem. It might fix the
It's
gas if
kind
you
of
had
it's
gas.
halfway done. It's kind of halfway done, you
Yeah.
know?
I don't see the point in doing it now. And to me, that's just unprofessional. I elected you as my representative to make the best decisions for me. And you make a decision like this and ask me to vote. If you're a boss hiring somebody to do that work, you'll be disappointed.
Sure.
Now I'm a citizen, I'm a boss.
Mhm.
I hired my representatives to make better decisions than this. So if you're just going to change it by a month, I don't think that's good enough. Same way women have standards. They don't date any guy who asks them out. The same way guys don't just ask any girl out.
Sure.
We should practice this exact same thing with our civic association. So 1 month isn't good enough. So I'll vote no. The last one was about the time frame for electoral complaints. Those are merged before.
Okay.
Article 83C of the Constitution,
Yeah.
talking about electoral complaint. And this only came about because we had one issue in 2017 about the election when we had this fear when lawyers were playing delay tactics and submitting papers on the last day.
Mm.
As a lawyer, we know we make use of the law. That's how it happens.
Mhm.
So it might be great to vote yes for this, reducing the time frame. But then looking at the issue with the moving the election by 1 month,
Mhm.
that's an extra 30 days. And the initial time frame was 58 days to process a full electoral complaint. From the start of the complaint to the end is 58 days.
Mhm.
In 2017, they made use of it. We were afraid that we might not be able to have it like inauguration. So now from 58 to 43, that's not a month. Taking 15 days out and pushing us back by 1 month, it causes a conflict because by the time you're doing a electoral process, let's suppose the date of election changes to by 1 month. Having those 43 days from November, it brings us back to December. When will we get time to have the next election, to have a result, in order to have inauguration on the second working Monday of January? That's too chaotic. So the same crappy work, that's like we should at least have a standard. And I talk about it on Twitter a lot. Let's not accept mediocrity. And to me, these election propositions are mediocre options offered to us because they want to make us feel like we really don't have a say. And if you want to prove that you have a voice, the only way to prove it is to use it. All right. So the way we can use our voice as citizens is to vote no or yes. If you like it, vote yes. I'm not stopping you. I'm encouraging everyone to vote. I'm just
The
explaining
purpose of
why
this
I'm
video,
voting.
we're advocating for a no down the board. Let
Yeah.
me just be clear.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a lot of
I
advocacy
really like
groups
if you
on.
voted no with me.
We haven't seen a
Yeah.
lot of advocacy groups, and advocacy could be yes or no. We're advocating for no, and that's the purpose of this. So, just let me throw that.
Yeah.
I'm putting that out there.
Yeah. I would love it if you saw this video before elections day and voted no, because that's what I'm voting. But even if you're voting yes, maybe you accept this. Not everybody has the same standards, so I totally understand
Right.
why you may choose to do that. But I wouldn't do that. And that's why I want you not to do that. But I would rather like if you agree or disagree with me, if you wrote a response to this video on Sleepless in Monrovia, right? But be sure to leave a review under this video as well.
All right, folks, you have heard it here first on the Bridge Effect with Attorney Joshua Kulah. The most important thing is that you exercise your civic duty, use your voice peacefully. So if you like this video, please share. Even if you don't like the video, share it, comment down below. Give us your feedback. We need to have more dialogue. Like we said, it may seem that it's a little too late, but it's still not late for us to just open the door so that for next time we have this pathway to be able to communicate and dialogue with one another. So please leave your comments down below, reach out to us, email Sleepless in Monrovia, check out the op-eds on their website, and definitely please leave them any messages that you have, respectful. We can dialogue respectfully. So
we don't have to agree, but
we
we
don't
can
have to
respect
agree,
each
but
other.
we will be respectful. So thank you guys for tuning in, and happy voting day in Liberia on December 8th.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.